How to read guitar music, Part A, Lesson 3A. The tie or slur symbol. Because this lesson is a 3A lesson, there's no exercises you need to do and there's no homework you need to do. You just need to listen to the information I'm giving you and try to take in as much as you possibly can. So, firstly, let's just revise at some of the things we've learned in the previous lessons. And in lesson 1, we've learned about the semibreve, which lasts for 4 beats, and the semibreve rest lasts for the same 4 beat silence. In lesson 2, we looked at the minim, which lasts for 2 beats, and the minim rest lasts for 2 beats as well. And it must be silent. With all the rests, it should be silent. Then, in lesson 3, we looked at the crochet, which lasts for 1 beat, and likewise the crochet rest lasts for 1 beat as well. And you may remember in the last lesson we had a slightly more in-depth look at time signatures. So we know that the top number of the time signature is the number of beats in the bar, and the bottom number in the time signature is the value of the beat in the bar. So if you look back at the previous slide, you can see the value there is 1 for a semibreve, 2 for a minim, and 4 for a crochet. So now hopefully you know that a tune that's in 4/4 time has 4 crochet beats per bar. And in the last lesson we did, we looked at one tune that was 3/4 time or waltz time, and that had 3 crochet beats per bar. You must have noticed by now that a lot of the exercises are in 4/4 time. And this is no accident, because it's by far the most common time signature. And because of this, it's also known as common time. So sometimes you can get a stave where the time signature is marked as a large C, and that C stands for common time, which is really 4/4 time. And there's nothing special or new you need to learn about common time. It is literally just 4/4 time, and that is 4 crochet beats in the bar, so you treat it exactly the same way. Obviously, we'll be looking at time signatures again in this course, so don't worry if you don't fully understand it yet. Let's take a look at the tie symbol. And you can see here the tie symbol looks just like a bow, and it can sit either above or below the notes it's joining together, and it can join 2 or more notes. And when it does join these notes together, their values combine. So you take the value of each note underneath the bow and add them together, and that's how long that note should last for. Right, let's take a look at some examples to make this completely clear. Example 1. And you can see in this example we've got 2 semibreves which have been joined together by a tie over the top of them. And as we now know, a semibreve is worth 4 beats. So we now join those 2 4 beats together. So in total we play 8 beats. And we play it as one note, we don't play it twice, we just let the guitar ring for 8 beats. So here's what it sounds like. I'll use an electric guitar so the note rings on more clearly for longer. You'll notice I let the guitar ring for exactly 8 beats and then I mute it for the rests. Example 2. And here we've got a couple of crotchets, then a minim, then a minim, then a couple of crotchets. But you'll notice the minims are joined together using a tie. So this is taking the minims, which are both worth 2 beats each, and adding them together. So it becomes the equivalent of a semibreve. So you play that note for 4 beats. Now you can't use a semibreve because it's going across a bar line. So in real terms, this could be a semibreve, except for that rule. And this example demonstrates that's the true purpose of the tie. It allows you to take a note across a bar line and still hold it. Example 3. And this example demonstrates that the ties can go over more than just 2 bars. In this example, we're going across 3 bars, joining a minim to a semibreve to another semibreve. So when you play a note like this, or you strum a chord like this, you would hold it for 10 beats. That's the minim, which is 2 beats, plus the semibreve, which is 4, plus another semibreve. At the end of the 10 beats, you mute the string, unless it tells you to allow it to ring on. Example 4. And in this example, you can see you're joining a crochet to a minim, which means you hold this note for 3 beats. That's 1 beat for the crochet and 2 beats for the minim. So you don't hold it for any more than that, 3 beats, and then kill it. Example 5. Music and tablature. In this example, I want to show you a difference that occurs in some tablatures, and that is where the second note of the tied note is put into brackets. Now this doesn't happen in the music, just in the tablature, and sometimes they'll just put the ties, other times they'll put the ties and a bracket, and other times they'll just put a bracket. However, when you see the brackets, you'll know the notes in the bracket are ringing on and they're not actually repicked. So any of these means the same thing, either the tie across the tab, a tie and a bracket, or just the bracket. So for this example, I play the first chord for 4 beats, the second chord for 4 beats, and the final chord for 8 beats. The last example, example 6. And this example shows the G major scale, up and down. And the whole scale is in crotchets until you get to the top note where the crotchet is tied to a semibreve. So it will last for 5 beats. And then when you come down the scale again, you'll see there's a crotchet tied to a semibreve again, which means the last note will last for 5 beats. Something it's worth me pointing out on this particular exercise is because it's a G major scale, the tune or the music is in the key of G. And in the key of G there's an F sharp, and that's why at the beginning of the score we've got the key signature showing 1 sharp, which is the F sharp. We'll have a look at key signatures in far more detail later in the course, but for now, just so you're aware, the G major scale has an F sharp in it, so the G major key signature has an F sharp in it. Before we finish this lesson, there's just one caveat I need to point out when you're talking about ties. If the start note is different to the end note, then it's not a tie, it's a slur. and this is referring to different techniques where the note is joined to another note but you only pluck the string once. For example, a hammer-on, or a pull-off, or a bend, or a slide. We'll look at these techniques in far more detail in a future video. However, it's an entire video or even course to itself. So just stick with the ties for the moment, and be aware that if the slide starts on one note and finishes on another, for example here, an F and an A, then it's not a tie, it's a slur. And that's it for this short bridge lesson. And if you're new to the lessons and you've just discovered this one, I've put a link to the previous lessons down below in the description and a playlist with them all in. And if you'd like to see the future lessons, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified when I upload new content. If you'd like to look at the ebooks that contains all this content, you can view it online for free at ebooks4guitar.com, and there's many other courses there and a lot of other video content. And for my regular viewers, I'll see you on lesson 4, and I have to give you a special thanks for being regular viewers. It's very much appreciated.